All right, welcome to Muddy's Gaming Dungeon. This is Muddy Waters speaking. Today we are in BigBox and we are going to talk about creating some custom playlist themes that may not be already available once you download the specific theme, like Unified Redo, for example. So, what do I mean? Well, let me get into my playlist category here. Now, I've had a couple inquiries about this, and that's why I wanted to take a moment to explain this. Now I'm working on a new build here. Okay, so I have several playlists already created, for example. Okay, so if you hop in here, let's say for Marvel, you're going to have this cool Marvel theme here. Okay, now I created this one by just putting the characters together, adding the background, doing the video border and logo, and the custom pointer there. You can see where it just says Marvel. Okay, there's a couple ways we can do this. Now I'll show you one that I haven't done yet. And so this is what it looks like. Okay, if you don't have a theme, you're going to see just a blank. And I'm specifically talking about Unified Redo. I'm sorry. But it's just going to be a blank background with the default launchbox, big box pointer, and it looks really boring, right? So we're like, oh man, we really want to create a theme for this specific category. So let's go back to launchbox and we can get in further detail here. Give it a second to boot up. All right. So here we go. We see that we're in Launchbox. We're in the playlist field. We can see that what I really want is to have a playlist theme for this Melty Blood collection. Okay. Now we need to go into our file folders because that's where everything's going to take place. So I already have them open here. Okay, so I have, go to where your launch box is located. Mine is on my D drive. Scroll down to themes, open themes. Now for this specific example, we're going to be looking at the Unified Redo theme. This is what I use for playlists because this is my favorite theme. We're going to go in here. Now, I will say you can make a copy of this and you can change the name to whatever you want. You can say Unified Redo Custom or whatever. I didn't do that, but you could. That way you keep the name separate in case you want to just go back to the standard Unified Redo theme. Okay, it's always good to have a backup. You can always re-download it from BigBox or the Launchbox community forums. So we're going to go in here to the Unified Redo theme. Okay. Inside here, this folder, you want to go to images. And then we're going to go to theme. Okay. There are a few important folders here to creating your theme. One of them would be background. I have some examples here we're going to get into. The next one would be pointer. Okay. Which is right here. Pointer. And then video border. Okay. And I'm going to show you a quick way you can just get a theme together really fast and make that work. Okay, so if we open these folders, you will see we have all of our themes in here already. They usually have, this is your video border and this is your character art. Okay, now if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see like this one here, it shows the logo. That's because during trial and error, I found out you can actually save the logo right here to the video border, and it works just as good as having it separate. Okay, so that is important to know. That's going to save us some time. Okay, so you can see I did a Marvel Versus collection here. Okay, and I like to put the character art in front of video border, makes it look more 3D, like it's popping out. That's just my personal preference. You'll see all the ones that were already included. You'll see the character art is behind the video border and there's no logo. Okay, so that's just a couple examples. So you're going to need to grab a couple things to get started, okay? So what I suggest is that you create a folder somewhere. This one's just on my desktop. I just named it Theme Assets. Okay, you can have it a working folder. You can name it whatever you want. You're also going to need some artwork, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is the video border, okay? So I've already made an example of what I want for Melty Blood collection here. Now I created this, okay? We're going to do this together so you can see how I did this. So Google is your friend when it comes to character art, okay? Just remember this is for educational purposes only, and this should be for personal use. All images are subject to copyright laws. So you want to make sure that you're going into and finding yourself some artwork that you can work with, okay? Awesome. So now what you want to do is under your video border, so we're just going to go over to video border test, okay? We're going to want to put a border in here. Now, personally, my first rule of thumb is find the logo that you want for your collection. So in this case, we're doing Melty Blood, right? So we need this logo right here, okay? And the reason why I say that is this gives us an idea of the colors that we're going to be using for the theme. So we can see red, white, some black. Awesome. Why is that important? Because when we go to pick our video border, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this image, put it in our video border test file, paste that, and then we're going to go over here to video border. One second. And we're going to go to, so here's all the ones that are already here, but what you want to look for is this auth-template folder. Go in there, and you're going to find some basic video borders that have colors with no other artwork or no other characters around them, right? So again, we're in here, we're looking at the logo, we see these colors. Well, then the first thing I'm going to look for is something that has red. Now there's a red and black one here that we can do. There's a red, white, and that I kind of like. Um, so I think we're going to go with the red, white. Okay. So what I would do is I would copy this guy and I would put him in this test folder. So now we have the logo. Now we have the video border. Okay. We need some characters. All right. I have already went and grabbed some characters that I would like to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these guys. And you can use one, you can use many. It's totally up to you. And we're going to go in here and we're going to put them in the video border. That'll take a second. And while we're doing that, we need to think about background and pointers, okay? I have a background here, and we're going to look at doing that next, and the video pointer last, okay? But first we want to start with this video border. Okay, so how do we create a video border that's going to work inside our theme that we're looking at, okay? So we have our video border test file. We have our images here and our logo. So I used to use Paint 3D. Paint 3D has been discontinued and it's no longer available in the Microsoft Store, so you can no longer download it. And I just want to say I'm not an expert at any of this software when it comes to like Adobe, Paint 3D, Photoshop, GIMP, stuff like that. I dabble, but I know enough. So for Adobe Express is free. Okay. So this is a free software online. Here's the web version. You can use it. Just go to Adobe Express, free version, and there you go. So what we're going to do is we are going to start a new project here. Okay. So file, start a new file. Okay. Actually, and what we want to do, I'm sorry, is import a new file. So we're just going to close it out like it's never been used before, because I want to make sure you're seeing everything the way it should be here. And we're going to go into Adobe Express, like brand new, like you're just starting it up. And so the easiest way to do that is start from your content, okay? Now we're going to go into that video border test, and the first thing you want to open up is the video border because it is already at the correct dimensions of 1920 by 1080. So we're going to do that. You don't want to change those dimensions or things will not work. Okay. So we're going to say original aspect ratio, and we're going to wait for that little icon to go away. Background color, we want to make sure that we just hit clear. Okay. So here's the video border. This is the correct aspect ratio, the correct size, the 1980 by 10 or 1920 by 1080. So this is the beginning of our playlist theme. What we want to do is add some more stuff. So the very next thing I would look at adding would be the logo. So let's do that. We're going to go ahead and find the logo and we're going to upload that. Now remember, you want to make sure these are PNG, like your logo needs to be a PNG file because it needs to have a transparent background. Okay, so I'm going to grab the logo and I'm going to resize it till I feel it looks good. Now that's totally personal preference. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can make it fit the border, kind of like I try to get close to that, just try to center it the best I can and make it look like it fits the video border pretty well. I'm not going to be too picky for this demonstration, but there we go. So now we have the video border, now we have the logo. Let's get some characters in here. So again, we're going to go to upload and we're going to find our character art. Again, the character art needs to have a transparent background and be a PNG file. It's very important. Otherwise, you'll have filled spaces that you don't want. So once you select on your character art, you can resize it how you want. I personally like to have my art going in front. Now see, if you move the video border, you want to Control Z and make sure you undo that move. Otherwise, the video will not be in the correct spot once we get this theme going. So personally, I like to have my character art kind of in front of the frame a little bit. If you don't like that, it's very easy to click on these three dots and hit send backward. And now the character is behind the frame. Anything that's inside this frame, you will not see because of the video. So if you want to do that, that's cool. Personally, for me, I like it in front. Okay. So there we go. Now this right here could be well enough. We could be totally satisfied and we can move on. Or we can add more characters. So let's add a few more characters. And you may hear my dog in the background. That's okay. All right. So again, you can say, well, don't forget, you can send them backward very easily right here. Boom. So if you just want to fill in some gaps, kind of make a collage of characters, you can do that. Like I said, I'm not going to be too picky. I'm just throwing it together right now. Now you see how they're grouped together where you can do that? You just click off and it'll ungroup. But yes, you can resize the whole group if you wish. Adjust the scaling how you want. And like I said, I'm not being too picky right now. But I just wanted to show you. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, but I want to make sure that we have a good understanding of how to do this. And maybe I want to flip them. I would just do this. Flip the character. There we go. All right. Bring it down here a little bit. Maybe keep her up front. It's kind of cool. You want to make sure you have enough room over here for a video pointer. So, and that is important. Some of their, if you get too low with the scrolling text and whatever, it may be cut off, but that's okay. So I'm liking what we're seeing right here. Might be a little busy, but I kind of like character collages like that. So I'm going to do this. Now, the next thing you want to do is hit download. Okay. So yes, you want it to be a PNG, and you're going to say download. And then we're going to go into that folder that we had, which was our video border test folder. Now, this is a very important step. You want to make sure it's named exactly how your playlist theme is named inside of Launchbox. Okay. So see, this is named Melty Blood Collection. This is also, since your background, your video border, and your pointer all have to have the same name, it's important that you have these individual folders to store them in so you're not overwriting files and such. Okay, so you want to name it exactly the same as you have your playlist named in Launchbox. All right, cool. So we got the video border done. Awesome. What's next? Well, let's go back to our group here. Like I said before, that's step one. The next one we want to do is the pointer. Now, the pointer, and you can see if I open this image here, I done this in GIMP, and I'll show you. This is the hard way. Well, I shouldn't say hard, but it's the more difficult way. You'll have to use GIMP, and I will show both ways. There is an easy way to do it as well. Let's start with the easy way, okay? So what the easy way would be to go to the theme here, go to pointer, go to Auth, and find something that's plain, like this Sony PlayStation one, okay? So we can grab that, we can copy it, we can pop it in here. Maybe we want to use this one. All right, so we have this plain Jane pointer. Now that could be it. Maybe that's fine. But you can also grab a couple other things. So I've sourced some art here because sometimes you can find these round logos. So we're going to copy these. We're going to put those in pointer test, and we're going to paste that. Okay. So let's see here. You will need to make sure that when you're looking at your pointer, okay, let me go over here. See, that's 500 by 500, and the pointer would be 181 by 326. When we open this pointer file, we want to make sure that nothing is bigger than the pointer file, or you'll need to recrop it, right? Which isn't a big deal. So let's see here. All right, so what we're going to do, as long as it's nothing crazy like, 4K, you should be fine. You can crop it, but you don't want to give yourself more work. So again, we're going to do File, Start New File, and we're going to, or I'm sorry, we're going to, actually, we want to delete all this. We can start new. We'll just do a landscape image. It's fine. And then what we'll do is upload, and we're going to go to that pointer. We're going to grab this guy. Okay. So see, we got a very large canvas to work with. That's okay. That's okay, because we can adjust all that. We're going to crop down later. Now we're going to upload again, and we're going to, I kind of like this one, so we're going to grab that. Okay, so now that this is done, we can kind of bring it in here. Like I said, this is just a real easy way of making a pointer that I've done in the past, which is kind of cool. I kind of like the round logo things. So we can do that. And I'm just showing you a very simple way, right? And then what we need to do is we need to resize. We need to do actually we need to crop. Let me look here. And you got to bear with me because I have not used this software very often. So we're not going to go premium. We want to just do like 500 by 500. I don't know if it'll let me do it this way. Hold on. Yep, I think that's a premium feature because it has this on here, so don't worry about that. What we'll do is we'll just do it the easy way. Download, PNG, download. We're going to go into our pointer and we're just going to name this one pointer test for right now, and you'll see why. Okay. Then we'll go into our folder where that's at, pointer test. And the one thing I guess it didn't ask me, it says PNG. Let's find out if it really is. Because it doesn't look like it did PNG. So one moment. So, and that was my fault. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. So we're going to cancel this. And there was something that I missed that I mentioned before. And you know what? You may make mistakes like that, and that's okay. You got to go to background color and hit transparent, right? If you don't do that, you're in trouble, right? So that's the big thing. So now we can download. There we go. And we'll say pointer test. Okay. And you see free for a limited time. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of this software. All right. So let's go back. Now we have it. Now we can just, honestly, if you're in Windows, you could just open with photos if you want. And then you could just go to edit and then literally just crop it down as close as possible to the edges without cutting anything off. Okay, and then we can just save it. And Photos does like to take its time. There we go. Exit. Refresh here. There we go. And now you see it looks very similar in size, so that's good. Okay, and we have that logo. That's the easy way to do it. There is another way, but we're going to go ahead and use the easy way, and I'll show the other way with GIMP shortly. Okay, let's close that guy out. Close that one out. The other thing that we needed to do was the background. Okay, and in the background, again, just find an image that looks cool for a background that might not be too busy. So the important thing is, though, it doesn't matter if it's a PNG or JPG at first, but it needs to be a JPG at 1920 by 1080 resolution for it to work correctly. If it is not a JPG, a JPEG at 1920 by 1080, it will not work properly. Just keep that in mind. So again, we're going to go to Adobe, which I should have pinned. Start from your content. And we do need to rename that as well, but we'll get there once I get the other pointer. Go to background test. We'll go to this image. We're going to open it. Okay. We're going to go to more sizes, custom size, and you want to make sure that this is set, your canvas size is set to 1920 by 1080. Create new file. Wait till it gets done downloading. Really doesn't matter about the background color here, but you're going to grab and stretch this image till it fills the canvas. And then you can adjust it how you want. Okay. Couple tips here. go into, not effects, go into adjustments. And personally, I like to blur the image a little bit. So you can, that's personal preference, how much you want to blur it. Some people really like a good blur. And also for brightness, you might want to turn that down just a hair too, because you want it to look like a background image. Once you get to where you want, go to download. And then remember, this one has to be a JPEG. So pick JPEG, download, and then we're going to theme, background. And remember, we're going to name this exactly how it's named for our collection in Launchbox. And then JPG. Don't write JPEG, or that will not work in the theme. So you want just JPG. Save it. Okay. And then for the time being here, we will hop over. Let's see. And we'll take our pointer and we're just going to name this one. Again, this is the easy version. So what we're going to do is rename this Melty Blood Collection. Okay. All right, guys, we're getting close here. So now, again, going back to where your launch box is stored, go to your themes, go to the unified redo. That's the one we're talking about today. Go to images, go to theme. And under your folders, we're going to go one by one. So we have our background test folder. So we have this one, it's ready to go. So we're going to go to background. We're going to take this and you can just drag and drop it, actually copy it. Okay. Remember that it's a JPG file. And so we're going to get that going over there. Okay. Once it's fully copied, yeah, I'll show up at the bottom. That's fine. You just want to make sure that it's named right, all that good stuff. Now we're going to go back. We're going to go to our pointer. So we're going to find pointer here. We see the Melty Blood collection. We're going to grab that, drag and drop it over. Make sure I close this guy out. Okay, so we got that over here. And then last but not least, video border. You're going to go to your video border that we created, Melty Blood collection, drag and drop. Awesome. Now let's go in the Launchbox and we're going to open up BigBox. Now, it's a good rule of thumb to refresh all images once you make any changes. I will tell you that my build is pretty big here. So if I do that, I usually have to exit and restart BigBox because I've noticed during the latest builds, it gets a little laggy after you do that. So we don't want lag. So let's go back over to our playlist. Sorry, I went by it there for a second. And there's our Melty Blood, right? So let's see. This is the one we were working on. And there's our theme, guys. So we got our background image. We got our pointer over there on the right side. We got our logo, our video border, and our cool looking characters. And that's how you make a cool theme, okay? So if there's one missing, now this is, you're not going to have these random playlists that don't have themes, which isn't very cool, right? Because you want to be able to hop in and see all your games have really cool themes like this. I think that's like super important, right? Just to have these awesome themes that you can create. Like I created this one here. So now I wanted to mention a couple things. So let's go back to the desktop mode. First thing is when you're creating your collections in Launchbox, all right, a good idea or a good rule of thumb is to come right in here to where, and I'll show you again. Let me minimize where you have your themes stored. So again, we're using Unified Redo as an example for today. Not all themes will have these file folders like this one. So you go into Unified Redo under Themes, Images, Theme, And I always say go right to your video border. And when you're making a collection, make sure you name it just like it's named in here. Okay. Because if you don't, let's say outrun, for example, let's say I name outrun 2 words. Okay. Well, this theme is not going to show up in your build. It needs to be named exactly as it is here to show up in BigBox. So just keep that in mind. So what I would do is use this for your naming convention when you're creating all your custom playlists down here, okay? To make sure that everything is showing up that was already pre-made on the theme when you downloaded it. Again, what we're talking about today is something that's not already pre-made or included and how to create that yourself. It'll save you a lot of work. Now, the next thing we wanted to talk about was the pointer, right? So how do we get a pointer that looks like this, right? Well, this one you're going to need GIMP for, all right? So, and you're going to need to go into your images theme pointer folder under template. Under template, you're going to see something called a pointer template thk.psd file. Now, this is technically a PSD Photoshop file, so you can use this in Photoshop. Today, I'm talking about using programs that are free to use. GIMP is free to use. You can download it on the Windows Store. So let's hop in. It's going to look really intimidating, so just follow along, and we're going to just use some basic rules here to get this done. Now, what you're going to want to do, okay, so we have our pointer and our pointer test here, but I'm going to make a new folder for this project, and we're going to call it GIMP pointer, okay? And what we need is an image, okay, a background image of something. Now, we can use this one if we wanted to, but since we already use that for the background image, I already have one here that I like. And you're going to want to make sure it's not sized up too much, okay? So you can see here, this one's 2400, this one's 2 by 280. And I think the final one I did right here that I liked was the 1400, but I resized it in there. So we're going to just drag and drop that into the GIMP pointer folder. I'll show you how we can resize it and stuff a little bit too. Okay, so open up GIMP, go to File, go to Open. You're going to want to open up that pointer template. Now, I just recently used it, but I can go over here, Desktop, find it in our folder, and we're on GIMP pointer, and that's our image. I forgot to put the the file in there. So basically, what you would do is you would take this guy here, this template, copy it, put it into the folder you're working with, and paste it. Okay. The reason you want to do that is you never want to mess up this template. Okay. You always want to copy it, put it in another folder, and use it. So going back to GIMP, File, Open, Desktop, the theme assets, GIMP pointer, and there it is. So yes, GIMP will open a Photoshop file. So we're going to open that. There you go. So this is our pointer template. There's different layers down here. Okay. What you're going to want to do though is you're going to go over here to channels when you're on the bottom layer. I'm not going to try to pronounce this, but it's number 1. Okay. All these eyeballs do is they turn off the layers so you don't see anything. You don't have to worry about any of that. We're not going to get into too much detail here on GIMP. Okay. There's lots of videos out there to use GIMP. And if there's an easier way to do this, that someone might be well versed in GIMP, please let me know. I'm happy to hear down in the comments. So I'm going to go to channels and we're going to highlight our alpha mask. That's number 1. Now we're going to File, Open, and we're going to get our image. And yes, it's going to be on another folder. And if you see this where it needs to convert, just go ahead and do it. It's fine. So now what we can do is we can hit Shift S and we can resize this if we want to. Okay. We can hit M button to move it if we want to. Okay. We right click, we hit Edit, Copy. Right click, Edit, Copy. Go back up here to the top, click on your pointer tab. Okay. You're going to make sure you're here, you're on alpha, all that good stuff is selected. You're going to hit Edit. Okay. And you're going to paste in selection. Okay. Now you can see that the image is still really big. I can move it around. If I hit Shift S, then we can make it smaller. And so you're going to kind of want to make sure that you get it in the right size, right? Now you can bring it in. I just hit M again after I got the size I want. And you look at all the corners, kind of get it positioned to where you want, okay? And then you just hit enter. You go over to layers. And down here, there's this little anchor button. Just click on that, all right? Now, you can turn off this if you don't like the little color here. There's some things you can change if you want to brighten up the pointer. You want to take off the border, which I wouldn't recommend. Stuff like this, you could turn on and off. Okay, maybe you want a brighter white border. I think it all looks pretty cool and it adds some depth to it. I might take off, I'll actually leave that on there. So we're just going to leave it as is. Now, go to File, go to Export. Let's see, there's Save As right here and Export As. We want Export As. Now, this is very important. We need to name it exactly Melty Blood Collection, exactly like it's named in Launchbox. And then go over here and change it from a PSD to a PNG file. Okay. So exactly how it's named in Launchbox, from a PSD to a PNG file. It's in the GIMP folder, GIMP pointer folder like we want. We're going to hit export. You don't have to change anything here. Just hit export. And you can see it's been exported down here at the bottom. We'll minimize. And now we can see under GIMP pointer, the folder we were working out of, we just created this cool pointer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our pointer and we're going to drag and drop this guy in here. And we're going to replace the old one. Okay. Now to test that that worked correctly, we're going to go back into Launchbox. We're going to open up BigBox again. Sorry, this video might be running a little bit long, but I just want to make sure everybody understands how to do this because it will make your BigBox build a lot more fun when everything is steamed out. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go back to our playlist. And find Melty Blood, which I passed. And boom, you can see our pointer has changed to the new pointer. Personally, I think using it, doing the ones on GIMP is the way to go because you can add whatever image for the background you want, which makes it pretty awesome. So now we have this awesome theme that we just created using Unified Redo, okay? Taking their assets and a couple of our own, putting it together to create our own custom playlist theme. There's one more thing I want to show you before we go today. I highly suggest that when you're in BigBox, just to have a more clean theme instead of going here, but just a more clean layout, I should say, is you want to go into options and you want to set your security options, right? So I like to take a lot of the stuff out of here that you don't need while BigBox is locked, and I'm going to show you why. So when you have people over your house or maybe your kids, somebody wants to play the game, they don't have access to all of these crazy options, okay? So we're just going to set a pin. Obviously, this is just for demonstration purposes, okay? With everything that I've highlighted already, okay, you'll see here in the difference will be when I go into the menu. Now, it's going to start in locked mode. So now when you come over here, all you get to see is the Game Discovery Center, the View Platforms, Platform Categories, and Playlists. That's exactly how I want it because the next time that someone comes into and wants to go back into options, this is all they're going to see. They're going to have their global search, Game Discovery, View Platforms, View Platform Categories, View Playlists. They won't have any ability to make changes or anything like that that can really mess up your BigBox system. So I highly recommend locking down your system to do that. Okay. And that is a wrap today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments um, in the comments below. I'd like to hear back from you. I hope this helps answer some questions. Thanks for watching Muddy's Gaming Dungeon. Until next time, game on.